Okay, good evening, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to our weekend Q&A. And we are going to be talking about doing a few things with your PLR, hopefully. And the structure of this call is going to change a little bit. Um, uh, I'm going to return to doing a little more training, and the Q&A I'm going to leave to our Ultimate Insider call. So if you are an Ultimate Insider and you have questions about strategy, you have questions about how to use the platform, I'm going to do that call at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I'll do that privately for you. If you're not yet an Ultimate Insider, the best way to kind of get me to help you with your strategy and with getting your membership site ready with all of your content, do that at the plrshow.com/ultimate insiders. That's the best that I have to offer and the best way for me to help you personally. I do want to talk to you a little bit about, and again, I don't really have this prepared, so I'm going to kind of talk through this. And this is going to be various things that I've talked through about the rebranding process and about a way to think about this. And I have not yet met a person that this would not apply to. I've not yet met a person who has bought any PLR that this would not benefit them. So I just want to give you a new way of thinking about this, because typically what, people, I think the way we sell it, again, it's an industry practice, and the way that we present it is that it is product based, and it is for you to make a sale, and to some degree, maybe you make the sale, then you put it into a membership area, and then you try to make another, right? You try to get a recurring sale. That's actually one way to kind of to think about this. Another way to think about this, though, is that in terms of the finite amount of time that you have, you don't want to spend a lot of your time either thinking about redoing graphics or redoing voicing. And I've said this in the past, and I really do believe this. One of the best ways for you to leverage the work that you're getting when you get PLR, and you really should get something, I think that you're leveraging the work someone does. You should be leveraging their expertise. When you get our PLR, what I suggest that you do is not to worry about redoing the voice. The thing that you want to be rebranding, obviously, is going to be your member area, right? So that's the thing that you want to rebrand. That's where you want to focus on the marketing and really getting people to understand what you're doing inside of your member area. Because when you get video content, it's less important that it have your voice than it is that it has the context that you're trying to give to your customer, the experience that you're trying to create. One of the things that we did this week, we did, Start a Challenge Masterclass. And what that course is really about, and if you're, and if you're, obviously, if you're selling it to your customer, right, you're teaching them this, but to use what we're talking about in that course, you should be able to take every course that you have right now and turn it into experience. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to make the experience such that if you get a customer and they come into your world and you really show them how to do something, as opposed to kind of sending them off to, one particular part of a product, you're really trying to help them. You're taking them through a challenge. You're taking them through, some kind of experience where they make some changes. They learn something. They apply what they've learned. I think that is really where, we are trying to go in our industry. I see a lot of people. I see a lot of discussion about communities, and there's a lot of good buzz about that because people are moving into these communities. They're going into school and they're joining communities. They're moving away from Facebook. I think that's a good thing. Like, that's a great thing. People are starting their communities, and here's my take on that. I don't think that people are necessarily, internet marketers in particular. You can tell me if you're if I'm wrong, I don't think people are looking for community. I think what people are looking for is the experience of doing something toward moving them forward in the business. I think that's what they're really looking for. Now, if it happens in a community, wonderful. But the drive toward moving to places like school, it's really they seeking an experience. And I think if you can create the experience for your customer or your customer base, you're going to find that people are going to stick with you longer and they're going to be willing to pay you longer for those things. But uh, as I said, this is kind of going to be the last thing. I don't really have anything prepared, so I actually am going to take questions tonight, and I will take your questions about if you got a strategy issue, if you got a like a platform issue you're trying to do. Feel free to write it in the chat box or the Q&A box. I'll do the best I can to answer your question. And like I said, I want to do this this week. I may not be doing this in the same format going forward, but you have me tonight, and happy to take your questions about just about anything. I don't have anything prepared. I don't have an agenda, and likely if you know, I can just kind of go off at the mouth, as like I did for the last 5 minutes. Um, but any questions? Any questions? Anything that you're trying to do, in your business or do with your PLR or anything like that? I'm happy to take your questions, and I'll do the best I can to answer any questions. Any questions? All right. Anyone that has anyone doing a launch, anyone doing doing some collaboration, uh, anything, anything that you're trying to do, and it's perfectly fine if you're not, if this week there are no questions. I just don't have anything prepared, and what I'm going to try to do next week is make sure that I'm going to be prepared to teach. But if you have any questions, I'll be happy to take your questions. Any questions? Okay, Sam, I see you. Okay, good to see you. Jeff, all right, good to see you. And Dana just saw you. So, any questions? Sam, what are you into right now? Let's see. Question from Dana. Which has better results, personal use and PLR offered on the sales page front end, or PLR as an upsell? Um, that's a great question. Um, I do have an opinion about that. Uh, I think that when you, I have seen people put two buy buttons on a page, and I think the thing to do would be to test whether you want to have two buy buttons on a page. That's kind of one question that I have, and I think that kind of the first question is if it's to determine, right? Okay, so are I guess the question would be, are the majority of the buyers buying personal use rights? Are the majority of the buyers buying PLR rights? I'm talking about from the front end page. So yeah, and so if you had to, if you just on a percentage basis, if you had to answer, okay, do the where what are the majority of the people who are coming? Because I know that personal use would be a cost issue, right? So people would pay less for personal use. You're going to ask them to pay more for PLR rights. So the question is going to be, if you have 80% of the people buying PLR, then that's going to convert. And the reason that's important is because some people will get to the page and they will hesitate and they will think about that. They will think about that for the longest time. And I have always understood that I don't think it's Stan Kennedy, but somebody said this, but that a confused mind does not buy. And so there are some people that will stop them in their tracks. And so if somebody's got momentum, let's say they're coming off a bonus page or coming off a promotion, and they get to the page and they want it, but they say, "Oh, I could pay less and get personal rights, and I really want to learn this, but I could probably really like it if I got PLR rights." And so then they'll walk away, right? And some people will walk away, they'll forget about it. Some people will walk away and they won't ever come back. Some people will come back and they'll anguish over it some more, and they'll leave again, and then they'll wait until after the deadline sometimes, right? So I think the main thing will have to be, is it worth having personal use rights on the page? That's the question. Does that really bring you the profit? Or if you find that you've got most of your people are buying PLR rights, then that means that's what they want. And so, right, yeah. And so if that's what they want, then we just eliminate personal use rights because, um, you know, most people in our business, um, they want PLR rights because they want to be able to use it. Even if they do want to learn from it, they tend to say, I just want the PLR rights so I can do something with this, right? So I think that the first thing to really determine um, is going to be do, yeah, yeah. Okay, so you got me. You with me here, Dana? Okay. Yeah, so it's a Sam. Okay, so ecom is doing this thing. So now yeah, so I know you're doing ecom. And so uh yeah, I want to encourage you, Sam, to go ahead and put your method down and to break it into 10 pieces and put a guide together and get it ready, right? Bring it to market, right? There's nothing, and again, I said this to the Ultimate Insiders. One of the reasons why I released a homeschool product is yes, I definitely do want people to buy it. I think it'll help people, but I also kind of feel like I have been saying to people for years that if you have some experience, that you just want to get it out there. And so I will probably never write the homeschool book and the home education book that I know I couldn't write. I'll never get around to that. Um, I could really write that book. And I don't think I'll ever have time to really write it. So I said, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and release this because I know it, right? If you were to ask me, how do you train teenagers to manage a home? I did that for 13 years. I don't need Chat GPT. I'm better than Chat GPT in that area. I don't need anybody to tell me that. And everybody has those areas in their life. And what I've always encouraged Ultimate Insiders to do, and probably even if I've ever talked to you personally, a lot of people have those things. Everybody has those things that you want to try to find a connection to the marketplace. You want to put that down. Maybe you do a video course. Maybe you do a cheat sheet. Maybe you do a PDF. But if you know it, everybody's got an area that they are better than Chat GPT in. Everybody's got that. And so the only question is going to be trying to find a connection to the marketplace. Now, if you can find a connection to, and the only way you know that, the only way you ever know that is you have to test the offer. I could have said, oh, nobody will ever want to hear that. And I've said that to myself for years, even as a PLR creator, that, nobody wants to know how to do rites of passage, and nobody wants to know how to, and I'm not a parenting expert. But I am an expert at teaching teenagers how to manage a home and learn life skills. And I don't have time to build a brand around that. I don't have time to, go out and podcast and build a following and, do it. I don't have time to do all that. So I just released this thing, right? It's good information. It guaranteed nobody can get this information anyplace else. I'm certain of that. Uh, and I would encourage anybody listening to this that you do the same thing. That you find those areas that it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be, um, I have an apple orchard. You know more about apples than everybody in the world. We just if I sat with you long enough, we could find a connection between what you know and the market. I'm certain of it, right? And so, all the ultimate insiders, we always do an onboarding call, and I always talk about that on the onboarding call. Sam, right? I mean, remember we talked about you and e-commerce. I don't see anybody else on here I've done the onboarding call yet, but I'm always talking that up. That for the MMO market, everybody should have an MMO product. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Dr. Stephen Covey. You should still have an MMO product. Everybody should have one. And so I'm always encouraging our ultimate insiders to have an MMO product. Now, the benefit of being an ultimate insider is I give ultimate insiders launch support, right? So, like I did well with Dana's thing. If Dana's got something, right? She brings it to me. Uh, you know, I'm sending it. It's not even a question. I can find an angle. I'm sending it. Now, I think I did better the last time than I did this time, but if you have something you can connect to the marketplace, then bring it, right? Take it to the marketplace. And I know that as I said, I think, there are a bunch of other marketers, I think, who that if you work with them, like they'll promote your launch. It doesn't have to be a big hit. It doesn't have to be a big seller, right? All it has to do is, it just has to give you traction. But everybody needs to go through the launch process. What now, Dana can, and I know, and I always use you as an example. Would you say, right, that there's certain things about this business that you only learned by going through the launch process? Would you say that? Now, obviously, I just kind of primed you, right? So, I mean, you look great. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I built the whole thing up, but it's for certain. There's certain things you will never learn, right? There's certain things that your brain does not understand until you launch something, even if it's an absolute bomb, even if you make no sales. If you go through the launch process on Warrior Plus and you get zero sales and you try to get affiliates, there is something that you take. It is a formative experience that you can lift up, take over to whatever your online business is, and you will drop it over there, and you will have this new perspective on the whole process. You cannot learn it any other way. There's no other way to learn it other than to go through the process yourself. And once you do that, it's almost as if you are emboldened in a way that you cannot be otherwise. If you can make zero sales. Going through the process makes you. It makes you. And I had a person tell me that for years I didn't do a launch. Right? I had a person tell me that, and I said, well, no, it can't be because, and I was running other people's memberships, and I was training, and people were paying me, and I was happy. Wasn't really happy, but I was doing this stuff, and he was saying, Charles, all these ideas and all these things, you really know this stuff. You ought to launch a product. I was like, no, man, I don't want to do that. That's not for me. And he told me this for years. And I think he's even an ultimate insider now. His name is Dave. And Dave would tell me every time I got on, Charles, it's a product. Charles is a product. Charles is a product. Charles is a product. And I thought I understood internet marketing. I thought I understood it. But the first time I launched what was called a WSO on the Warrior Forum, it's as if going through that process it changed everything. It changes you, right? Dan says, but take notes for next time, right? Yeah. I mean, it changes you. Everybody should have at least one MMO product. I don't care how fancy your market is and how, maybe your people are too sophisticated for that. I promise you, you don't under you there's certain things you will never understand until you launch. You need to go through the process. Again, doesn't matter if you don't get any sales. Doesn't matter if you don't get big affiliates. Doesn't matter if none of that matters. It's the process. The process makes you. And whether if you're watching me, I would encourage you to find a connection. If you're an ultimate insider, right, get on your onboarding call and we will find a connection together. Right? We can find a connection to the marketplace. I know that. But even if you're not yet an ultimate insider, if you're not yet signed up, you just I mean, if you need to, right, ask Chat GPT, right? Ask Claude. Try to find a marketplace, try to find a connection to the marketplace. And then go get all the people who you talk to, right? All these people who you've been buying their products for years and you got their support address. That's the way you do. And you say to them, say, hey, look, right? Look, Charles, I've been buying your products for years. I'm doing something new. Now I have to look at it. Now, I mean, I may not gravitate. Again, if it's an ultimate insider, I'm obligated. And because I'm obligated there, I don't necessarily do a lot outside of ultimate insiders and my regular affiliate partners. But I'm saying if you know somebody, you've been buying their stuff, they have to listen. They have to. And they might say to you, well, that's not quite my market, but here's some things you can do to it. Or I can put you in touch with X. Right? And there's no, and please do not think. And I know there are a lot of people in my audience that are, I'm 58, but I know there are a lot of people in our audience are 70 or 80. I know at least one person's 92. And there's no barrier, right? The market doesn't care how old you are. So if you're thinking I'm too old for this and I'm too whatever, I promise you that's not true. Please do not think that. The market does not care. The only thing the MMO market cares about, listen to me here. The only thing the market cares about is itself. Can I take what you're giving me and can I sell it tomorrow? It doesn't care how old you are. It doesn't care how young you are. It doesn't care who you are. It doesn't care if you're green, blue, purple, red, woman, it doesn't care, doesn't matter, none of that stuff. It doesn't care. The MMO market does not care. And really, be quite honest, sometimes it doesn't even care how much integrity you have. I'm just telling you, it doesn't even always care about that. All it cares about, the MMO market. Can you help me today? Can you help me today with my problem right now? Or can I take what you have, what you're giving me, what you're selling me? Can I take that right now to make some money today? That's all it cares about. And there are a lot of people who I know, right? I know, I get, they will as they say, tell the truth and shame the devil. I know there are people who they're going to buy like like just I mean the like the get rich quick stuff. And it says stuff, and it's like the guys on the sales page is doing stuff like this, you know. I know there are people who are in our audience are going to buy this stuff, and they're trying to keep it on the look. They're trying to keep it hush hush, but I know they're still going to buy it because they're thinking, what if they're right? What if they're right? You know, I just want to see if they're right, and they'll go and they'll buy this stuff. And they're not going to tell anybody. They're not going to come into your Facebook groups. Oh, I bought this thing. Some people will. Some people come to and say, "Well, I bought it. It was a, and all it was a big. It was a big scam." Most people, they're buying this stuff, but they're not going to tell anybody. So here's my point by telling you that. Um, it doesn't care. The market doesn't care that your last launch was a flop. It doesn't care if you had 50 sales the last time and you had 1,000 next time. It doesn't care. It doesn't care. It doesn't care. It doesn't care. So if you're hesitant, right, and you're thinking about, well, I don't know, nobody knows me, nobody likes me, it doesn't care. Um, I'm not going to mention any names. I know a guy. He got sideways with a lot of real popular marketers, right? Like in the month of April, got sideways with them. And there's some things he didn't deliver on and all this stuff. 2 months later, this dude is right back. He's launching products again. Product of the day. The market doesn't care. So if the only people anguishing over, should I launch this? Is should I, nobody wants to know this. The only person anguishing over that is you. Nobody else cares. Nobody else cares. Only people want to know about, is that going to help me? If they think it'll help them, they'll buy it. If they don't, if it does, they don't think it will, it won't. There's no emotion. It was like if you launch it, like that's a horrible person right there. Nobody thinks that. Nobody cares. So there's good in that, right? So that you don't have to process an L. So let's say that you take an L on something, you forget about it, and you move on to the next thing. You launch something else, right? But everybody should have. Right? If you're watching this, whether you're live or you're watching this by archive, everybody should do one MMO launch. Everybody. There are just some things you're not going to learn any other way. And that's one of the reasons why I did this homeschool product. Because again, this is something that I know so well that if I were in your house and you were telling me you had all these problems with all these teenagers, I may not be able to tell you how to get along with them, but I could tell you how to get them moving and get them organized because I did this for 13 years. That's how well I know this. So for me to launch this product as a PLR product is nothing, right? I may not ever do it again, and I'm not going to ever get around to writing a book. But I did this also, again, for Ultimate Insiders so they will know if you have something, you bring it to marketplace. You know something, connect it to the market, find a connection to the market. And yes, obviously, if you do more in terms of get the launch ready, I know that my friend, Chad, he's got a process and they've got this, kind of this thing and, they get these things together. You may not ever do all that, right? Um, you, you know, sometimes if you just have enough relationships, you just rely on those relationships and you start calling on people and some people say yes, some people say no, nobody thinks it's personal and they're just waiting for your next one. Okay, so it's 7:31. Uh, any questions? I kind of went off of the mouth there. That's what happens when, I don't have anything planned and there are no questions. So next time I will have something planned. Any other questions? Any questions about anything? Well, once again, I'm going to put the link in the chat. If you go to the plrshow.com/new, that's home education masterclass. And that's about as personal a product as I've ever done because it is out of my personal experience. I spent 13 years um, working with 13 teenage boys, ages 13 to 18. And, you know, and teaching them life skills and really just kind of learning on the fly. A lot of these things I kind of learned over the course of years, and some things I learned by accident, some things I learned on purpose. But they're all strategies that any parent can use, any guardian can use, any teacher can use, any grandparent can use to have a happy and orderly home, right? With teenagers or with otherwise. I'm going to put the link in the chat. If you are watching this by archive, you can get a home education masterclass at the plrshow.com/new. Or depending on when you see this, you can also get it at the plrshow.com /THMC, right? THEMC. And that's for the Home Education Masterclass. THEMC. You can get that there. Okay, everybody. Well, thanks very much for hanging out with me here. I appreciate you all so much, and appreciate you all being being out in our community. Have a great weekend, and for those of you who celebrate Labor Day, hope that you all have a great Labor Day. And for those of you who barbecue and do all that stuff, have fun. Have a great night and a pleasant tomorrow. Take care.